All right, Baruch chapter 2. Let's tackle this.
People, and of the justice of God. Wherefore the Lord our God hath made good his word, that he spoke to us, and to our judges that have judged Israel, and to our kings, and to our princes, and to all Israel and Judah, that the Lord would bring upon us great evils, such as never happened under heaven, as they have come to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that are written in the law of Moses, that a man should eat the flesh of his own son, and the flesh of his own daughter. And he hath delivered them up to be under the hand of all the kings that are round about us, to be a reproach and desolation among all the people, among whom the Lord hath scattered us. And we are brought under, and are not uppermost, because we have sinned against the Lord our God, by not obeying his voice. To the Lord our God belongeth justice, but to us, and to our fathers confusion of face, as at this day. For the Lord hath pronounced against us all these evils that are come upon us, and we have not entreated the face of the Lord our God, that we might return every one of us from our most wicked ways. And the Lord hath watched over us for evil.
That's some of the things that always stick out. I'm listening to all these guys, go off on, Esau and all this other stuff, man. You got to remember, when you're looking at us, we have the capability, right, to also see we as a people have a problem, and I know people watching is going to, take this to heart, but I'm talking about in general, we have a problem. We don't want to examine our heart, and we don't want to examine our minds, right? We don't want to sit back and say, hey, there are things that we are not doing right that we need to cut off, right? We need to get rid of these things. Yes, worry about things around you, but most importantly, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, because we can't act like there's not things going on around us. Like I just seen a video where a gentleman was showing that the law enforcement department, especially in Raleigh, North Carolina, and others, have purchased a weapon called Ray, right, where they're tracking your cell phone and any of your personal data. They're tracking it, and it's being sent to them through a router. Basically, it's surfing for all of our cell phones as they're making their calls or texting or whatever, and they steal your private information. And none of the police departments obviously wanted to talk about it, but they were showing how certain cities have already purchased them and are using them, and they're talking about, in a war, you never, display your strategy and so on and so forth. So I know these things are real, but at the same time, we find these things and search for them. Don't forget to clean up your heart. Don't forget to clean up your mind. Don't forget that the Creator allowed this stuff to happen to us. He turned us over to these, whatever you want to call them, because we wouldn't listen to the teachings He gave us, because we wouldn't listen to His voice anymore. We were chasing after other things. We allowed wickedness to grow within us, and we didn't kill it. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, at the same time, always keep it in the back of your mind, or I say the front of your mind. But if you just remember it, period, clean up your inside, clean up your heart. Think about each day, how can I get rid of this, what's inside of me? You know what I'm saying?
And hath brought it upon us, for the Lord is just in all his works which he hath commanded us. And we have not hearkened to his voice to walk in the commandments of the Lord which he hath set before us. And now, O Lord God of Israel, who hast brought thy people out of the land of Egypt with a strong hand, and with signs, and with wonders, and with thy great power, and with a mighty arm, and hast made thee a name as at this day, we have sinned, we have done wickedly, we have acted unjustly, O Lord our God, against all of thy justices. Let thy wrath be turned away from us, for we are left a few among the nations where thou hast scattered us. Hear, O Lord, our prayers, and our petitions, and deliver us for thy own sake, and grant that we may find favor in the sight of them that have led us away, that all the earth may know that thou art the Lord our God, and that thy name is called upon Israel, and upon his posterity. Look down upon us, O Lord, from thy holy house, and incline thy ear, and hear us. Open thy eyes, and behold, for the dead that are in hell, whose spirit is taken away from their bowels, shall not give glory and justice to the Lord, but the soul that is sorrowful for the greatness of evil she hath.
Do you see that? We were just listening to Lex and them go over the soul, and here it is talking about whom souls are taken from their bodies. So that is right there. It tells you in the book of Baruch, while your body is here, you still can have your soul snatched. Let me see this. Let me see this. Let me see this. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up something here. Let's see. No. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if I can. Oh, man. Let's see. Let me see if I can see. Because I thought about this too with the whole.
Well, you were right. Definitely no place for a city girl.
I don't know. From what Walls told, Neville Bill, Sue Chop. Good day, Sue. And what are you doing wandering around out here in the scrub, Ned?
I'm on my way to robbery over at the Java. It's bloody drag. But still, my dad get angry if I don't show up.
See, Ned's a real city boy, but his dad's a tribal elder.
Oh, no, you can't take my photograph.
Oh, I'm sorry. You believe it'll take your spirit away?
Hear that? Take the photograph. Do you believe it'll take your spirit away?
No, you got a lens cap on.
I thought about that though, listening to that debate. Where did that idea come from, though? You know?
Hath done, and goeth both down, and feeble, and the eyes that fail, and the hungry soul giveth glory and justice to thee the Lord. For it is not for the justices of our fathers that we pour out our prayers, and beg mercy in thy sight, O Lord our God, but because thou hast sent out thy wrath, and thy indignation upon us, as thou hast spoken by the hand of thy servants the prophets, saying, Justice, they that are in hell shall not give justice to God, that is, they shall not acknowledge and glorify his justice as penitent sinners do upon earth. Thus saith the Lord, bow down your shoulder, and your neck, and serve the king of Babylon, and you shall remain in the land which I have given to your fathers. But if you will not hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, to serve the king of Babylon, I will cause you to depart out of the cities of Judah.
Now,
and
you see, hold on. You see that? Now, that was interesting, right? Where it talks about, thus saith the Lord, bow down thy shoulders to serve the king of Babylon. So, now just bear with me. Because this is what I'm trying to figure out. What point would this be? Because is it the Spanish Inquisition? Is this during the time of Prince George Washington? Those that survived everything that was coming in Deuteronomy 28, if you were going to stay on your land, you had to learn to be obedient to the king of Babylon, or you'd be taken off of your land and sent to the other places. to learn to serve one of those kings. Just when you read this, it's 22 and 21 and 22, okay? So shall thy remain in the land that I gave unto your fathers. So let me read it one more time. Thus saith the Lord, bow down thy shoulders to serve the king of Babylon. So shall thou remain in the land that I gave unto your fathers. So those that are in the right land, right? They were fortunate enough to be able to stay there, even with everything going down. They had to learn to work for whoever is this king of Babylon, right? And then you sit back and you think about Babylon, is the certain land or is the empire, just let me read here to 22. But if thou wilt not hear the voice of the Lord to serve the king of Babylon, I will cause to cast out of the cities of Judah, and from without Jerusalem. So where Judah and Jerusalem are, you will get kicked out of those cities, basically, right? And this is where the rest of it was. The voice of what is that? Hold on. Make sure I get this right.
Mirth.
What is mirth? High spirits, cheerfulness, the voice of mirth. I think I might have something I need to look up because I have no idea what mirth is besides what it's telling you right here.
Without Jerusalem, and I will take away from you the voice of mirth, and the voice of joy, and the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, and all the land shall be without any footstep of inhabitants. And they hearkened not to thy voice, to serve the king of Babylon, and thou hast made good thy words, which thou spokest by the hands of thy servants the prophets, that the bones of our kings, and the bones of our fathers should be removed out of their place, and behold, they are cast out.
Yo, and when I read that, check this out, right? Isn't that what this reminds you of? The look, like every time we turn around, where they found this Aztec or they found this Mayan, they're constantly digging up, these people that we now, when we look at them, we find that these were the ancient rulers, are not so distant relatives. And they keep talking about they dug them up and they found them in places where they won't give you any credit, even if you look like the people right on the wall. You still won't get any credit, Oh no, that's all the paint they had. That's how they had to depict them. What did they do with the claw hands, man? What's that about? All right, let's get back.
Down to the heat of the sun, and to the frost of the night, and they have died in grievous pains, by famine, and by the sword, and in banishment. And thou hast made the temple.
And then check this out, right? When you read about the Native Americans, and they'll tell you that 90% of the Native Americans went extinct because of the smallpox being introduced to them because of the European using it as a biological weapon. Think about it, 90%. You didn't have to lift a hand to wipe out 90% of the population that was here. Just because you used a biological weapon, man, 90%. That's even hard to even just put into, just to imagine 90% of the United States right now wiped out and only 10% left. And then they always tell you that you're a small nation, right? You're only 13% of the population. When you look up numbers for what serial killers, right? I was right. University of Ohio did a study. I was watching it on the ID channel. They were doing a whole series on inside the mind of serial killers, and they were talking about serial killers, their characteristics and stuff, how to identify it in children and stuff like that at an early age, how they treat cats and animals and stuff like that, small source of life. But they started talking about serial killers always like to kill within their own ethnicity. They feel more comfortable that way. It's easier. Hey, another white Caucasian. Hey, another white Caucasian, and they'll kill each other. But serial killers will also kill large numbers of so-called blacks, the American Aborigine.